Alright, so today in this video we will be talking about the redesigned 2025 BMW X3. So what the BMW X3 is, it's a luxury SUV from BMW that slots right in between being a compact SUV and a midsize SUV. So it's for the crowd who wants a smaller SUV, but they don't want something too small. Now there's two trim levels to the X3, which is the xDrive 30 and the M50. Now I know there's the X3M, but that's the previous generation. X3, I don't know if BMW is going to come out with the X3M for the new generation, but I hope they do it, and I hope they do it relatively soon. But anyways, we'll be talking about the xDrive 30 and the M50 for now, as those are the trim levels that currently exist. Now, both of these trims come standard with all-wheel drive, thankfully, because I don't know why anyone would want two-wheel drive in an SUV, regardless of whether it's front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. Now, the xDrive 30 comes with a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, has 255 horsepower, and gets 33 miles per gallon. Now, BMW says the 0 to 60 time of the xDrive 30 is about 6 seconds, which really BMW underrates their 0 to 60 time, so a more realistic 0 to 60 time is 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. Now, the M50, instead of having a 2-liter 4-cylinder, has a 3-liter 6-cylinder with 393 horsepower that gets 30 miles per gallon on the highway instead of the 33 in the other trim. And BMW claims the M50 has a 0 to 60 time of 4.4 seconds, but then again, BMW underrates their time, so the M50 more realistically has a 0 to 60 time of about 4 seconds. Now, pricing-wise, the xDrive 30 has a starting price of $49,500, whereas the M50 has a starting price of $64,100. Although, so about a $14,500 difference. But the M50 does have some things standard that are not standard on the xDrive 30, which I will show in a little bit. So let's design a xDrive 30, and I'm not going to add much. I'm just going to add everything that the M50i has standard that's optional in the xDrive 30. And honestly, in my opinion, all these features are really the only must-haves that should be spec'd on the new X3, in my opinion. So first off, as you can see, there's two options for the design of the X3 xDrive 30, which is the normal design and the M Sport design. But don't be fooled. For $2,200, the M Sport package is more than cosmetics, because the M Sport package actually uses a different suspension from the non-M Sport, which the M Sport actually has adaptive dampers. So the M Sport, because of the different suspension it has compared to the non-M Sport, it's going to have much better handling. And because the dampers are adaptive, I've actually personally found the M Sport cars to have a little bit of a softer ride than the non-M Sport, which I haven't been able to test it in the X3, but I've been able to test it with the X5 from personal experience and going on test drives with people. But yeah, so honestly, if you're going to get an X3, the M Sport package is definitely a must-have. I think that's really the case for most BMWs, just because the suspension the M Sport cars has is just a lot better of a suspension compared to the non-M Sport. Like, even my parents ordered a brand new X5 about a month ago, and we're getting it in a few weeks, and we all agreed that the M Sport package was a must-have for us. So yeah, if you're going to get any new BMW, especially an X3 or any other BMW where the M Sport package, it has different suspension from the non-M Sport, I would highly recommend going with the M Sport package. I wouldn't get that BMW without it. So the M Sport package is actually one thing that the M50, the higher trim, has standard, that the lower trim, the X-Drive 30, has optional. So now I'll show the other things that the the M50 has standard, that the X-Drive 30 has optional, which which first off, the panoramic, no, not the panoramic, the convenience package is standard on the M50, but on the X-Drive 30, it's a $1,400 option. And it includes remote engine start, Sky Lounge panoramic roof, which is pretty much, I believe it's lights in the sunroof. I could be wrong, but from what I've heard and seen, I believe the Sky Lounge panoramic roof is pretty much lights in the sunroof. And I think, or maybe it's just the large glass. Whatever that is, I think it's pretty cool how they option it on a large glass. Let's see how the X3 is without the Sky Lounge panoramic roof. We're gonna go into the interior room. So as you can see, without the Sky Lounge panoramic roof, there's really no sunroof or moonroof. So yeah, let's go back into options. Whereas if you don't have the Sky Lounge panoramic roof in the X3, pretty much there's no form of a sunroof or a moonroof. Whereas with the Sky Lounge panoramic roof, you're getting a glass, like a large piece of glass. It doesn't open on the X3, but it's a large piece of glass. And in my opinion, that just makes the interior feel so much premium, because it's just like having an extra window on the roof. And I think in a luxury car, it just enhances the experience. And I'm not 100% sure about it. That's why I was stuttering a little bit just a minute or two ago. But I actually believe the Sky Lounge panoramic roof has lights on the inside of it. So the area by the Sky Lounge roof can actually light up. I'm not sure if this is 100% true, so if it's not, please correct me in the comments section. But yeah, that is something I do believe. I know on some other BMW models like the X5, X7, 7 Series, etc., the higher end ones, by the panoramic roof, which in those cars actually opens because they're just higher end vehicles in the BMW lineup, there are actually lights by the panoramic roof in those cars. So I don't know if the same goes for the X3, but if it does, please let me know. If it doesn't, also please let me know. So honestly, just for that option, the Sky Lounge roof, I would recommend getting the convenience package, because it just makes the interior feel so much premium. Having the panoramic roof versus not having the panoramic roof, regardless of whether the panoramic roof has lights or not. But about the other things the convenience package has, which will obviously be the tablet holders. It's not a tablet holder, but it's like a little hole you could put a tablet holder inside of if you really wanted to. Then you get remote engine start. I don't really care for this feature, but it's good to have. Heated steering wheel, same thing. It's also another feature I don't care about, but it could be good to have for some. Although one thing I will say is heated front seats do come standard on the 2025 BMW X3 regardless of what trim level you get. So that's the convenience package. We will add it. Premium package obviously has a little bit more than the convenience package. You can decide for yourself whether the premium package is worth it or not. But as far as the convenience package goes, it's a $1,400 option on the X-Drive 30 and standard on the M50. Now another thing that's standard on the two other things that are standard on the M50 that are options on the X-Drive 30 would be dynamic damper control, which I don't know much about it, but it is supposed to enhance the driving experience of the X3. I mean, it doesn't do much, but for $550, why not? I think it's worth it for sure. And it comes standard on the M50 X3, while being a $550 option on the X-Drive 30. But that's also because this X-Drive 30 has the M Sport package. If you have an X-Drive 30 without the M Sport package, then dynamic damper control is a $1,250 option. I don't know if the dynamic damper control in the non-M Sport is different from the dynamic damper control in the M Sport. Haven't really heard much about it. And also, the M Sport brakes with blue calipers are for $650 on the X-Drive 30 is standard on the M50. And obviously, you can only get this if you have the M Sport package. And yeah, honestly, I would highly recommend the M Sport brakes just because you're going to get a lot more stopping power on a car with them compared to an equivalent car without them. So yeah, as far as options that are optional on the X-Drive 30 that comes standard on the M50 will be your $650 M Sport brakes, $550 dynamic damper control, $2,200 M Sport package, and $1,400 convenience package. And yeah, so X3 X-Drive 30 with all the options the M50 has standard will come out to $54,300. And as far as must-have options, not must-have, in my opinion, these four options, the M Sport package, the convenience package, the dynamic damper package, and the M Sport brakes, those four options, in my opinion, are really the only must-have options with the new X3, whereas everything else, you can decide for yourself whether it's worth it or not. So now I'll dig into the M50, which if I was to get a BMW X3, and I definitely would if I wanted a luxury small size SUV, I would spend the extra for the M50 because compared to an equivalent spec X3 X-Drive 30, the M50 is only $9,800 more. And as I just explained, in my opinion, everything that the X-Drive 30 has optional, that the M50 has standard, are all must-have stuff in my opinion. So if I was getting an X-Drive 30, I would definitely be spending the extra money for those options. So it's like, if you're just gonna spend that money on the X-Drive 30, why not spend another $9,800 and get an M50, which has a superior engine with a lot more power, and the gas mileage sacrifice is minimal, as we went over earlier in this video. So yeah, if I was getting a new X3, M50 all the way, that's the one I would get. The only way I really think the X-Drive 30 is worth it is if you're getting a base model, or a base model with very little options, like you forego the M Sport package, you forego the dynamic damper control, you forego the M Sport brakes, you forego everything else like the driving assist package, the parking assist package, etc., rear climate control, Herman Kardon, and so on. Like, I really think the X-Drive 30 is only worth it if you're just going to forego all the options and get a base model. The only option I think that's maybe worth optioning on X-Drive 30 is maybe the convenience package, because then you're at $52,000. I think for $52,000, it's a great car. So I think that's really the only way the X-Drive 30 is worth it, is if you're just going to option nothing at all, or you're going to option nothing at all but the convenience package. That's the only way I think the X-Drive 30 makes any sense. But if you want any more than that, I think the M50 is the one to get, honestly. Honestly, I know the starting price is a little higher, but the other thing to think about is you're getting a lot more power, a lot more fun at a minimal gas mileage sacrifice. And the other thing is that, as I explained, all the stuff on the all the optional stuff on the X-Drive 30 that enhances the drive of the X3. Which, the base X3 is already going to be an amazing driving vehicle. It's just that all these options are going to make the X3 or any BMW, most BMWs just drive even better than their base counterparts that already drive great. So yeah, but all the stuff that are going to enhance the drive of the X-Drive 30 are already standard on the M50, along with that $1,400 convenience package that's standard on the M50, which is why even the premium package is cheaper on the M50 than the X-Drive 30, which, as far as options on the M50 that are a must-have in my opinion, there's really no option on the M50 that is a must-have. All the options on the X-Drive 30 that, in my opinion, are must-haves, at least for me, are already standard on the M50, as I already went over in this video. So, as far as options go, you can decide for yourself whether it's all worth it or not. If I was to get this car, I would personally be fully loading it, which, let's see how much the M50 costs with all the options, because as a base model, it's like $65,000 after the destination fee. So yeah. Alright, so if you get a fully loaded one versus a base model, then it's obviously going to be a little bit more money. I do want to talk about leather upholstery real quick, because there are two options for leather upholstery on the Neo X3, which is the Vengeance synthetic leather and the Merino genuine leather. Honestly, after being able to feel both in person, no matter which choice you pick, you're going to be very happy. But if I was to get this car, I like loaded, I like all the options, so I would spend the extra on the Merino leather personally. And let's see, trim. And there's also two trims, there are also two interior trim options for the X3 M50. Honestly, just pick what you prefer. They're both free. Whereas with upholstery, the Vengeance leather, the synthetic, is free, and the Merino leather genuine is a $1,500 upgrade. So you can decide for yourself whether that's worth it or not. And then colors. Some colors are free. Some colors are $650. Some colors are $1,500. Actually, let's see. Yes, some colors are free. Like Alpine White is an example of a free color. Oh, Alpine White's the only free color, actually. Then most of these BMW colors are $650 upgrades. And then a select few of these BMW colors are... I keep messing this up. Alright, so... Alpine White... Alright, let's redo this. I keep messing this up. So as far as exterior colors go, Alpine White is free. Then you have all these colors, which is 6 colors you can choose from, which are $650. Then Tanzanite Blue is $1,500. And then you have a couple of frozen colors, which is a matte finish, which is a $3,600 option, which I do want to talk about these real quick, because if you're getting a BMW and you want a frozen color, I highly recommend not getting a frozen color on any new BMW, because if you get one scratch on the car and you want to fix the scratch, because of how difficult it is to paint match the frozen colors, you have to repaint the entire car. So I highly recommend not getting a frozen color if you're gonna get a new BMW. My personal favorite color on the new X3, or just in BMWs in general, other than maybe the X7, is Tanzanite Blue. I think it's a really good looking color, and I personally really like it, and it's actually the color my dad ordered his X5 in. So yeah, I really do dig that color. Though another color I'm also a big fan of is actually Dune Gray Metallic. But if I had to choose, I would definitely go for Tanzanite Blue. So yeah. Let's see. And obviously, after I show you my spec, we'll see how I like the... Alright, so obviously after I show you how I personally spec the X3, I'll show you my thoughts on the exterior and interior design. Because we already know driving-wise it's going to be fantastic. It just comes down to whether we like the exterior and interior or not. Alright, so this is how I would personally spec a BMW X3. It's fully loaded. I went for the $2,000 $1,500 Tanzanite Blue exterior. I also selected a $1,500 upgrade for genuine leather instead of synthetic leather. So I picked the merino leather option, which is the genuine leather, instead of the Vengeance leather option, which is synthetic leather. Well, that's a $1,500 option for merino leather. But honestly, regardless of whether you pick merino leather or Vengeance leather, you're going to be incredibly happy with the interior. I just personally like the merino leather. Whereas, same thing, I picked a $1,500 color, Tanzanite Blue. But honestly, regardless of what exterior color you get, you're definitely going to be very happy with the X3. As I think it's just a good-looking vehicle in general. But then again, that's just my opinion. So yeah, I think regardless of what you do with that, you're just going to be really happy. And then I personally like, for the trim, there's two options. There's the brushed aluminum and the fine print wood. I personally like the fine print wood, but honestly, that's just a personal preference thing. I think both choices are great, and because of the way the new X3 interior is, it really doesn't make that much of a difference, truth be told. And then, as you can see, I added every single option here. Driving assist package, M Sport Pro package, which parking assist package, premium package, front and rear heated seats, front ventilated seats, rear climate control console, rear sunshades, and woven textile upgraded dashboard. So I obviously added all that, and if you want to add all that or just some of that, I think definitely go for it. It'll definitely make the car even better than it comes standard. But honestly, even if you get none of these options, I think the X3 M50, even as a base model, is just really that good of a car that whether you get all the options, some of the options, none of the options, I think it's just going to be a really feel-good luxury SUV. So I'm not going to go over what all the options are in this video, but if you're in the market for this car or you just want to look more into this car for fun, I would definitely look into what each of these options pack offer. Though the one I will go over right now is the M Sport Professional package, which, because this is pretty much a blackout package, I guess you could say. I mean, like, for example, it just blacks out the trims, it makes the lights black out, and one thing that's interesting is there's actually a feature on the M Sport Pro package that you don't get without the M Sport package, which is the cornering lights, which, I mean, regardless of whether you have them or not, the X3 M50 is going to have amazing headlights, regardless of whether they have this cornering lights option that the M Sport Pro has or not. But real quick, I do want to show the difference between M Sport Pro package and not M Sport Pro package. So as you can see, here's the X3 M50 with the M Sport Pro package. And now we remove the $600 M Sport Pro package. And here's the X3 M50 without the M Sport Pro package. As you can see visually, there's not a lot of difference. It's really just the grille surrounds aren't blacked out and the lights don't have as much as that like dark look as compared to with the M Sport Pro package. Whether you like the M Sport Pro package or not, it's just personal preference. It's pretty much like choosing an exterior color, I guess. But I'll say with the X3 M50, no matter how you're going to spec it, I think it's amazing. But honestly, I do think for most crowds, unless you're getting a really base model xDrive 30, definitely spending the extra on the M50 is worth the extra money, as I went over earlier in the video. Now, one more thing I do want to discuss before going over my final thoughts on the exterior and interior of this X3 would be the wheel options, because let's see. Now for the wheel options, you have 20-inch wheels and you have 21-inch wheels. Now I'd say with wheel designs, it all comes down to personal preference. But if you're going to get an X3, honestly, do not bother with the 21-inch wheels. Please get the 20-inch wheels. And the reason for why I say get the 20-inch wheels and don't bother with the 21-inch wheels is because the 21-inch wheels come with a low-profile tire, which will go flat very easily when you go through nasty potholes, especially if you live in an area with a lot of bad roads and you're driving through those nasty potholes. Often steer clear from the 21-inch wheels and stick with the 20-inch wheels. But that's just my 2 cents. So finally, I'm going to go over my thoughts on the exterior and the interior. And we'll be looking with and without the M Sport package. So this is obviously the M50. So M Sport package is standard. And you can decide for yourself whether it's a good-looking vehicle or not. But I personally think the new X3 is a good-looking vehicle, especially with the M Sport and M Sport Pro packages. I'll add the M Sport Pro package one more time just to showcase the little bit of difference, which is just the blacked out grille surrounds and the darker headlights, which I think, in my opinion, obviously for me, X3 with the M Sport and M Sport packages is probably going to be the best looking new X3 in my opinion, exterior wise. But honestly, regardless of how you spec the new X3, I think it's a really good looking vehicle. You can't go wrong with any of them. So, even if you stick with the xDrive 30 and it doesn't have an M Sport package, I think even for being a base model, it's a good looking vehicle. I just really like how BMW designed the new X3. Although I know some people will disagree with me, and that's okay too. Now, as far as interior goes, obviously I went over you could get synthetic leather or genuine leather. But I think just regardless, it's just a very feel-good luxury interior. It just feels like a very nice place to be. to be. It's just a luxurious, feel-good interior. And I honestly think in this segment, out of all the choices, I think, honestly, the new X3 has my favorite interior. I think the new Mercedes GLC has a really nice interior too, but certain aspects of it just feel like an overkill to me. So, yeah. So, because of that, the new X3 has my favorite interior in this segment. And I think even when the redesigned Audi Q5 comes out next year, if the actual Q5 that comes out next year is anything like the leaks out right now, I think I'm still gonna like the X3 interior more than the GLC and Q5 interior, but that's just my opinion. Personally, let me know what you think of this car and those cars in the comment section down below. So yeah, I just think this has a really good interior. The only X3 that interior-wise maybe doesn't feel as nice to me is maybe if you get a base model one like this, where it doesn't have the Sky Lounge panoramic roof. So I really do think the Sky Lounge panoramic roof that comes optional with the convenience package on the xDrive 30 and standard on the M50 really does make a large difference to how the interior feels. But I think, honestly, as long as you have the Sky Lounge optional roof, which is right here as you can see, I think, honestly, as long as you have that, it's just the new X3 will have a very feel-good luxury interior that will definitely more than satisfy you. And honestly, I don't know if I said this already, but if I was in the market for a luxury SUV of this size, the new X3 would 100% be what I would buy. And I would definitely be getting an M50 with the new X3, which, as I explained, unless you're getting a base version unless you're getting a xDrive 30 with absolutely none of the options, or you're only adding the convenience package to the xDrive 30 to keep the price down, I think the M50 is the X3 to buy, really. You're just getting a lot more power, and you're getting better resale value, of course, and just a lot of the options on the regular X3 that enhance the look and drive of the regular X3 are just standard on the M50. And despite getting a lot more power, like the power difference is almost 150 horsepower, the gas mileage sacrifice is minimal. The xDrive 30 gets 33 miles per gallon on the highway, while the M50 gets 30 miles per gallon on the highway, both impressive figures. Although, one thing to keep in mind is if you're not really used to luxury vehicles, which I imagine most people who are getting a new X3 are, but of course not everyone is, that regardless of what trim you're going to get on the X3, you have to use premium fuel. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I will see you next time.